anything that's worth it takes time. I want the quick route, the short route. I want to get from point A to point B as fast as I can. Like what's the easiest, quickest, best way for me to do that? And there's not a way with this.
Hello.
It's been like mentally tough for me. I've just been like mentally and physically exhausted for probably the last 3 to 4 weeks, to the point where like I'm like really ready to be done with the training. Like I'm over it.
I have more time than Drew does to train, and I genuinely enjoy all of the disciplines. Drew enjoys them, but I think I love them a little bit more.
What's up, Dawson?
Hello, sir.
Good to see y'all.
I grew up in Tulsa for 18 years. I moved a lot for college. I'm 24.
I'm 28, just turned 28, so.
In a lot of shorter distances, even in triathlon, like the sprint, is you can like
You can get
wing
away
it.
with it.
With Ironman, you can't wing it. Some people are like, you're crazy, you wake up at 4:30 and
Yeah.
like you do this, and it's like, well, I
have
enjoy
to.
it now, and I have to, and I love it.
We're staying in Chattanooga, so it's September 24th, and then we'll stay in Chattanooga the night of the 24th. And we've got some of my family coming, and then we're gonna go just to a cabin in the woods for like 5 nights together. I hope we just do. I don't want to think about swim, bike, run for like 5 days. It's gonna be great.
I'm gonna lose my mind.
Now we put on sweatpants and sweatshirts.
Me
That's
too.
cool.
No, I couldn't decide whether to put my pants on or not.
Let's go.
Cold nature.
Oh.
How you like something late night?
I think our first triathlon that we did, we had no idea what we were doing, and we just went out there and did our thing.
Yeah, she liked running, and I liked tennis, and we both like sports, and now we spend a lot of our time training and doing, endurance sports. We do everything together, and we try to involve people, involve community in everything that we do, and so like that's what keeps it fun. That's probably been my favorite part of the journey. Is like we've met people, all kinds of people. So an Ironman is a whole lot of things combined into one thing.
Our swim is 2.4 miles. The bike is 116 miles.
Yep.
And then the run is 26.4.
The last like 2 to 4 weeks has been like mentally brutal for me. This week alone, we both put in 17 and a half hours of just swim, bike, run.
I think the hardest part for me was we knew we were doing this Ironman, and I had gotten hurt leading up to our last half Ironman. This year we got a trainer for me, which was the hardest thing and the best thing for me because I overtrained, and it was like a mental thing, and it's kind of an obsession for me. And I think for some people it may be easier to trust a coach than it was for me. I wanted so much control over my own plan, I wanted to do it, all those things. But I do think it's very beneficial. I wanted a personal one-on-one coach so that if I did get injured or whatever it was, like I can text her, and she's an awesome friend, but she also can give me a one-on-one attention.
And when I tell her she needs to not run so much,
Can't run
ask your coach. Ask your coach. Like, so now I'm at the doghouse because like there's somebody else that gets to tell her like, no, that's dumb. I think even if we got out of triathlon next year, or if we did triathlon until we were 80 years old, throughout life, like I'm gonna remember this because you have to put the time and energy into something if it's worth it and valuable, because everything is a process. You can try to skirt your way through it, but usually it doesn't. Usually it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So.
With arcs, we're going to ask that you go into 3 lines and hold those lines as you go down the red carpet. You're going to turn left, and then we're going to go feet first into the water. 3 athletes every 5 seconds. It's going to go like this. Beep. And then beep. And then you go, and we cheer, and we celebrate, and your Ironman starts. A shout out to our Sherpas and our spectators who made their way down the swim start. You are not able to go down the red carpet to see the athletes start in the swim. There is a little path, but I would just recommend kissing them if we can. That way we can do everything in our power to make sure they are there for you when you get there. That's going to be next to our Roca Swim Arch. That's the same place you'll be able to get a swim cap. Did you happen to forget it? Quick check, do you have your timing chip? If you don't, now is the time to come on over to the speaker stack, and we're going to be able to get you a new one. So head on over if you forgot that. I promise it's okay. I forget things too sometimes. Otherwise, we're going to get you guys lined up in just a little bit. Farther back.
More people put that look out and say.
Orange, yeah.
Very good. You know, if Courtney does well enough and has the day that like she should have, you know, on paper, right? On paper, big if, Courtney has a chance to qualify for the like full Ironman World Championships. And so like it's something that we've had some, you know, crucial conversations about like lowering expectations and not expecting that. And not like letting the day be a win or lose based on like if she qualifies for Ironman World Championships, which if she does will be in Nice, France next year, 2024, and it would be just an incredible experience for both of us. And so we would like for that to happen, but it's not promised. So. We starting?
Yeah, we're rolling.
Do it.
How'd it go?
It went great.
It's over.
It is over. Drew's really glad it's over.
We finished together.
We did finish together.
Like literally the same time.
I started 3 seconds before Drew. They had
Yep.
to go count off. And I was surprisingly at peace, which most races I get really anxious before we get into the water because the water is the hardest. I'm not as great at swimming as all the other disciplines, so it makes me the most nervous. It was a really cool atmosphere
Yeah,
to begin
it was
the
fun.
race. We came out of the swim and Drew finished about 3 minutes ahead of me on the swim, and I knew he was ahead of me. He usually finishes before me on the swim. We started biking and my goal was just to catch up to him.
Which she did.
Yeah, which around mile 108.
Like I knew she was somewhere behind me, but I heard her giggle, and I was like, that is my wife's laugh.
I've never been in a race experience where we literally got to ride up next to each other and just kind of say,
No, we've never
"Hey."
done that, ever. Out of 20-something races we've done, we've never done that together.
But we loved the bike. It was beautiful. It was
Yeah,
really fun.
The bike was fun.
I was surprised at the middle challenge though it took to like stay focused for that long on the bike. Around mile 80 and toward the 100 mark, you're like, dang, I've been on this bike for a long time.
Yeah, Courtney had like the third fastest female bike time out of any female on the course. She did great on the bike. And then we started the run together, and that's when it actually got hard.
You really had to keep focused because once you went into transition, you're changing into your running gear, you're like, wow, I still have about 4 hours left.
Hopefully, and it was longer than that.
to run this thing.
Yeah.
You're still not done. And so We came out almost together, probably like 30 seconds apart,
Yeah.
out of transition into the run. Upon starting the run, my stomach and everything just started churning. I found the first porta potty I could, and I was like, I'll just use the porta potty, I'll be fine, we'll get going. And that wasn't the case.
It didn't stop.
It didn't stop. So about the first 10 miles, there was a stop every mile for like food, nutrition, and a porta potty. And I had to stop every time for those 10 miles.
There was times when it was so bad that she was cramping and it was hurting her and she couldn't run. And for me, like as her husband, but also as her best friend, it was really, really difficult for me to see her in pain. From the very beginning. What we thought would be around 4 hours, maybe a little bit before, took about 4 hours and 50 minutes.
There was a verse that I had been dwelling on throughout this whole time, is Hebrews 12, about running your race with perseverance and just throwing off anything that hinders you. I just had to repeat that scripture to myself over and over and over to run my race, because if I focused on anybody else's race, I wasn't even going to run my race. I was humbled that he stayed back with me. I wanted him to go ahead. I was telling him, go, leave me. And he was like, no, I just want to.
Nope, I said, we're doing this whole thing together.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care what happens, we're doing it together.
He kept saying, we always do everything together. So
That's what we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So around mile 15, it didn't really get better. It kind of got worse. So
Yeah.
because I hadn't taken any nutrition in, because I couldn't stomach it,
Cramps.
I started cramping. So
Bad.
both my calves started locking up, and I would just have to run as best as I could, run through the cramps until there was points that I had to physically stop because it wouldn't
It would just lock up on you.
it wouldn't massage out. And so
At mile 19, she fell over. She fell on the ground. I don't know if she's going to finish. And if she doesn't finish, I'm not finishing. You know, like I'll quit. I'll DNF with her. I've only been married to Courtney for like 2.5 years, but when you see her character and you see how she carries herself, I don't know why I would ever question if she would finish. Because she's not a quitter. And I was like so proud of her. I was like, of course she's going to finish. Like it just like flipped once we got to about mile 22. I said, she's got this, you know. She just kept finding ways to like mentally navigate through her physical body giving up on her. And it was really cool to get through something like that together. After the race that night, I fell asleep with the TV on. So I'm not a light sleeper. I was so exhausted. I fell asleep with the TV on, my clothes on, and sitting like straight up, just like this, lights on and everything. I just fell asleep.
and he was snoring.
And I was snoring. I don't snore. You actually don't find out if you qualify for the World Championships until in the Ironman events the next morning. So the next morning at 9:30 a.m., we got coffee and breakfast, and then we made our way to the convention center where the announcements were. We got to the women's 25 to 29 age group, and we hear the first place person get offered. We hear the second place person get offered. We hear the third place person get offered, and Courtney finished 4th in her age group, and we knew that if we heard her voice, Courtney Ballard, would you like a slot to go to France next year?
And you say, oui, oui.
Oui, oui.
And then you go up there and sign some stuff and pay more than you ever want to for a race.
It was just really finishing the race, but then when like Courtney, who has been working diligently, for her to, as someone that a year and a half ago couldn't clip into a bike, like wouldn't clip into bike pedals, to go from a year and a half in advance to be the 3rd fastest female biker on the course, and even with a bad run to finish top 20 overall female, and then qualify for the World Championships, to get to race with all of the best females in the whole world in France next year was gratifying.
It was something I was holding with open hands that I was hoping for, but at the end of the day, Drew and I, like we said before, talked a lot about how not letting that moment, whether I got it or whether I didn't, define whether it was a good experience or not at all. I came back and I sat down for coffee with one of my friends, and she said, "What's like one of the biggest things that you've learned from this like whole experience?" I think that my biggest takeaway was that like growing in holiness is hard. I'm not gonna wake up and I'm 30 and be the person like in Christ and the Courtney that I want to be that looks like Jesus if I'm not intentional about that every single day. With Ironman, like, you have to work on the things that you don't want to practice. There's a lot of things that I'm not good at that I was just hoping would just come together. Like, I didn't have to practice them, but I did. We had to think about so many things and practice the little things as well as the big things and plan for them and be intentional. There was just nothing that was lackadaisical about that. With Ironman, it's hard, but it's a good hard.
We spent the next week in the mountains with some of my family and just played with my nephew every day and just relaxed and unwound and did the opposite of training for full Ironman.
Oh, yeah.
We did the opposite. We relaxed. It was just really nice to reset after that. When we got back to Tupelo, we had two of our friends, very close friends, Tucker and Haley. They asked us to hang out. So long story short, we realized that they were taking us to a surprise party.
Well, Drew did. I thought everybody was there to move furniture.
Yeah, well,
I was pretty convinced.
We were sitting at dinner and Tucker goes, "Hey, Big John wants us to move a couch." And I was like, yeah, we can run and move a couch after this. No big deal. Well, it's Tupelo. You just help your friends out. And so we get there, and I see some very noticeable vehicles. The first one I saw was Tyler and Ashley Dawson's car, and I went, whoa, they live in Fulton.
Sorry, I don't notice cars.
I was like, what are they doing in Tupelo? And it triggered to me. I said, I know exactly what's going on here. But Courtney still didn't realize it, so we walk in the door, and everyone's like, wee! And we're like, Courtney was shocked. And I had realized it, but only 30 seconds before. And there was literally probably 30 of, our closest friends and some of our family that was like just celebrating Courtney and me finishing the Ironman, but then Courtney making it to France. And they all signed a France flag. And had like all kind of types of French foods and French desserts, and we got a big group photo, and it was just special.
It was so special just to do that with people. Like, they didn't train with us, but man, they're like part of the journey and like encouraging us.
Some of them trained with us.
Yeah, some of us trained.
Yeah.
Some of them trained with us, and just encourage us all along the way, and just like love us as people. Whether we accomplish something big or not, but they just love really big.
We couldn't have done it without our community. I couldn't have done it without Stephen Odie and Brandon Sims.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
They
and
literally
Ashton
would.
LeConte, let's go.
Yeah, they would. Those two guys for me would open. They knew my door. They know my door code. They would unlock my door and like wake me. Be like, get up. They'd come and run for my house just because they knew I would sleep in otherwise. They got me through it. Or, you got to lean on people to do something that challenging, and I'm thankful that we had people to lean on.
Oh, for sure.
So, yeah, we're just getting started.
Oh, yeah. Oui.
Courtney Ballard.